I was dealing with so much covert warfare in my life and not being able to see where it was coming from. And it took forever to really discover what it was. So, when I had to work through a very calculated homelessness, and I knew it was like I'm being legitimately pushed into this position, I went to work hard. Harder than anyone that I had known. Ever. Like, ever. Including now. I don't know anyone that has ever gone to work as hard as I had to work. Because not only was I being set up by the state with this covert abuse that I'm now faced up with today, like the same exact role play, same exact thing, like all over again. So now that I'm in this position and I've worked so hard to get here, these people have had no idea for a while that I had figured all of them out. Every last part of it. At least the parts that I needed to know to move forward with my life, knowing this is going to hurt like hell, but you have to leave every single one of these people behind. You have to. If you don't, they're just going to continue to poison you up. And that's the scary part that I had ran into. Realizing and having my memories come back to me about being poisoned up in literally all of the places that I had been in. Including the place I'm in now. So, I've literally been poisoned up my whole life. And not only physically poisoned, but metaphysically poisoned, emotionally poisoned, spiritually and ethically poisoned. And so these people, when I was in the shelter, for an example, and I had to get up 4:30 every morning and just get out, and like if I could stay, work overnight, anything. Literally like work all day, all night, all day, all night, I would. I'd be tired. But the fact of the matter is I realized I was in there because of these calculations that these people played in my life. Methodically. Engineering my life by craft. I just couldn't see where it was coming from because I was poisoned. I didn't have the memories that I needed. Then, before then, after then, for a really long time. So, I legitimately had a job before then that owed me like $3,000. I had my writing money that got stolen away from me after that in the tunes of like almost $4,000, plus some of the money that I put into the NTF that my brother created specifically to, you know, it was as if I was planting seeds all along the way, right, for like my own abundance and my own availability to see these things. But because I was planting those seeds, they were coming up behind me, hacking me. I thought I had the trust of, you know, they were my family members. Some of my family members working this hacking to like trade me like baseball cards between them and the proxy warfare artists to continue the poisoning that they couldn't continue from when I was growing up. And so that I had gotten out of that situation of thought process based on just the covert warfare, not seeing where it was coming from. Not seeing where it was coming from yet, but I was still knowing that somebody had placed me there, basically trafficking my person into the homelessness situation that I was in. You can't get out of it. You're entrapped. It's like in a trapped way of life because of these people. You see what I mean? And so because I was in that position, and not only I was like, okay, well, I need to work for the $3,000 that was created by the state to be able to pay the state back for the state's crimes that they took over me, but I also needed to make up for the $3,000 that the prior job was just not paying me correctly, and the Department of Labor and Industries didn't do a fucking thing for me. Like, I've seen scenarios of like similar situations. They do their job, they get the people their money back. Sure, it's late, but at least they get their money for the time and energy spent in work hours. Well, that's not what they did with my case. They legitimately kept this swept under the rug, pushed me into homelessness, created the psychological warfare, painted me up as crazy, in front of their own children even. They wouldn't have, if I was like having a surgery, they wouldn't show up if I had anything going on inside of my life where it was like a physical ailment and I was in the hospital. They wouldn't show up. No way. They didn't even call me. They didn't even care. But as soon as it was part of the proxy to be putting me inside of a 72-hour hold, then they're going to bring their children with them. I mean, that's just a telltale sign of like, what the fuck? Like, you're literally going to paint my character while you literally placed me in this position. Because I had already had a psychological evaluation before then, and I passed. No problem. Bring it to the courts, everything would have been fine. I could have just stayed there, gotten a job, not still knowing that these people are playing in that way. You know what I mean? But if they weren't playing in that way, I'm saying that I could have gotten another job, worked that job, crawled up, gotten a little podunky apartment. You know what I'm saying? But they just didn't want that. They didn't want me to have any money. They didn't want me to have a dime. They didn't want me to have a relationship. They didn't want me to have a social life. They didn't want me to have a roof over my head. They didn't want me to have nothing. Because at least then they could paint my character how they would want to paint it for their own children, the community, anyone else, you know, working in this shit camp, you know, protecting the cuckolding of my father's rape and this and that. And so, with these people performing this crime over me, and mind you, it's been happening since I was a baby, so it's not like it's been easy for me to see or have anything of myself to compare it to for me to go on with. All I had was warfare since I was 3, or since I realized I was a human being. You know what I'm saying? And so, like, I really wanted to figure out the crimes that were happening to me, or figure out what was happening to me, but at the same time of being poisoned up, you just can't reason and acknowledge things that you would normally be able to acknowledge without the poisonings being administered into your body unwittingly. It's really hard to explain, but once I realized that at 42 and a quarter years old, I was all like, well, as long as I realize these things now and move away from them in a fashion of like pretending, like I literally just pretended that I was still being poisoned, and that anytime they gave me something I would be extra thankful for it and just try and scurry off and like act like I drank it, like call them up an hour later or whatever, like, I don't know what's going on, like something's wrong, could you help me figure this out, like please, you know, I'd like try and act like how I thought of myself acting or responding within a reaction of a very calculated poisoning. See what I'm saying? And so it's the only thing that got me out of it alive, is literally like pretending with the people that I should have been able to trust to protect me, but they were never there to protect me. They were just there to continuously take the seeds that I was planting along the way to figure things out, and they would be behind me hacking, hijacking, performing identity theft, pushing me in places, painting my character. You know, it's like I'd be planting a seed and they'd be uprooting it as behind my back, going planting it in their garden to energy swap or destiny swap with me, hacking me, hijacking me. And now it's like literally, if I had my thought process, my reasoning skills, I mean, when in the last place I was at with how they treated me, it gets wiped away from your memory, it gets wiped away from your availability to like know what to do about things. You know what I'm saying? Like actually move on your own accord. I wouldn't have moved here. I wouldn't have written a check that would move me here by my broker brother, who is also a fraudulent insurance agent and a fraudulent fraudulent broker, because he was literally then, because it didn't work and because I didn't die in that place or around the move to get here. Well, now it was just use everything he's got, get a proxy, get his performance down, make him lose his jobs, whatever it has to take in order to completely continuously paint his character as somebody that just doesn't have it within him to work, to be a productive member of society. You see what I'm saying? And then, because I was doing my due diligence, they wanted to move me here specifically to get my equity, steal the deed of my house, kill me, perform the identity theft, because they own literally more of my identity still to this very day than I own of myself. And now that I see it, now it's like, oh, you guys couldn't take care of him. Now it's the syndicate that works well within the system, the police, the medical community, the judges, the magistrates, the bar association. You know what I mean? The British, whatever it's called. But they're working in this shit camp design over my life the entire fucking time. The entire time I've been alive. And so I just I'm not having it. You know what I mean? Because they're literally not only trying to steal my life from everything I've lived up to that point, but they're literally trying to steal my life, like to kill me and steal the parts of my life, like walk away with actual parts of my life, like to continuously make money on that trust fund, on the trust funds that they're setting up right now with the magistrates and the courts. That's why they need to suggestively say, okay, well, you guys couldn't take care of it. We'll take care of it from here on out. And that's why they needed to create a fictional crime out of me for just words coming out of a long-standing poisoning in a hyperbolic situation. Because you're not going to suggest that coming out of a 40-year crime in that fashion of being poisoned up, that you're not going to be hyperbolic. You're going to be freaking out. So that's where I was, and it was really super scary, because now this proxy lover, this third, fourth, fifth, whatever number of proxy warfare lover, I mean, I can't say for sure all of the relationships, but it was definitely a lot of them. I'd say it was like number 5 or 6 even. I'm not sure with a few people from my past, as far as if they took money to like psychologically operate on me by them offering bribe money or manipulation or whatever they would do, because that's the same thing that my mom dealt with the courts growing up, based on the sexual abuse of my father. And so this stuff just followed me all of my life, where I couldn't see it. And so I know I'm kind of all over the place here, and try to follow along the best as I can. I'm almost done here. It's just the fact that if I was going back in time looking for all the seeds to sprout, they were all gone. Everything was being taken and stripped from me. Meaning, like, the hacking was to establish me to not have an outreach. The hacking was in other ways to actually like take over my identity, trading my information like baseball cards. They have they have everything they need, because I thought that I could trust many people in my life that I couldn't have and shouldn't have been able to trust. So it's like taxes, credit, bank information, having someone within proximity of being proxy of me while being poisoned up. They got passwords, they got email, they got social security, they got my identity, like the government issued ID. They wanted to perform this crime to literally kill me, so that my brother could then instigate to create the fraudulent insurance, the life insurance policy, to take it out on my name, which is suggested by him saying too that, oh, well, good luck with Matthew, I'm not going to pay for any part of his funeral. Like, the literal fact of the matter is him planting seeds with spell work. And in that spell work, it literally does hurt the target. It doesn't matter where it's coming from. So my advice is that any spell work that's done by any demon that's living inside of the flesh of these people, you pray against them, and you be the generational curse breaker, and believe upon Jesus' mighty name that he gave you the authority to speak against all demons, and that no weapon formed against you shall prosper. And so if you're believing in God, you trust in the Lord, and you have faith in the Lord, then all of those things will be added onto you. All of those things will be done. And so when you bring it in, and say it's like 4 or 5 things, when you bring all those things in to Jesus, you let it go, and you literally give it to God. You let it go. It's in your hands now. It's not mine. I'm denying my flesh. I'm denying my flesh and giving my vessel to you, God. That's what I recommend doing, just in the general. Because now, even if they like you still have blessings in heaven. You weren't being able to be blessed here because these fucks they're all over the place, and like there's heavy corruption. Literally, like 10 days in Minnesota, they literally just caught a whole like drug raid that was involving cops, judges, military, all completely exposed in the state of Minnesota. And so like with the Smalley's fraud and all of the billions of dollars that have been stolen away from taxpayers, thanks to Tim Walz and thanks to these Somalis that are like giving their money, literally supporting the Al-Shabaab of like killing Americans and killing Christians. And so they want to say it's delusional persecution, but you're not going to deny like 2,600 crimes or whatever that have been like happening over the period of like 10 years in my life or whatever. You just, like, you yourself, I'm saying, you're not going to be able to deny it. The cops can, because the cops might be fraudulent. The courts might be able to, because the courts are fraudulent. You see what I'm saying? And they're protecting these criminals who are getting away with literally trafficking you. Trafficking your person. That's what the gang stalking is. It's not only about asset forfeiture, like forced asset forfeiture, but it's like jobs, love life, social life, all of these areas of your life that you would want to have a normal, organic blow up or boss up or glow up, inside of your own life. But that's exactly what they're trying to stop. So anyway, my advice is just go to the Lord with it all. Take all of it and connect it to the authority that you have in your prayers with Jesus Christ, and you literally give it to the Lord and you let it go. Doesn't matter what happens after that, because, I hate it here. I hate this life. I hate what humans did to humanity. I cannot even stand it here. So, like, say they, bombed my house and I blew up and died. I literally don't care anymore. I literally don't. I care. I want a life. I wanted to like drum. I wanted to like create music. I wanted to do so many things. Like I don't need to get into it. It's just very beautiful things that I was working on for a really cool mission and movement that I was going to work on, where it's like legitimately, if I was allowed to work in those fashions, it would have like not only taken me up, but taken a whole lot of people up with me. Like a mess load of people would be like super duper able to be rich, like rich. So these people can go ahead and think whatever they want. They're all frauds. Minnesota has like 50% or better. I think it's way more than that, honestly, but it was discovered that 50% of all charities are fraudulent in the state of Minnesota. So Minnesota is heavily into criminal intent. And when it's that criminal intent and it involves police and the magistrates and the bar association and the attorneys and the lawyers and the medical staff and your own family, it's like, where do you have to go? You know what I'm saying? Anyway, thanks for being here. Peace.